Let's look at how you can correct information in the database by using more complicated business objects. And in order to explain what do I mean by complicated, let's go to the menu Accounting, Related Tables, and let's look at list of items. Now let's add new record, choose commodity here. And as we can see on this screen, there are not only fields like barcode, name, parent account, sale price, sale unit, etc., which are directly related to this object, to this item in this case, but also there is a special table at the bottom which is connected to this object, where we can add as many records as we need for this item. We can find such objects in other locations of the system as well. For example, if we move to the data creators list, add new record, and look at organizations, we'll see exactly the same fields which are directly related to this organization, and also there are tables which are connected to this organization. Now let's look at how we can manage such an object. So let's go back to the items list and let's add new item again. We can enter information about this item, for example, a barcode, name, parent account number, sale price, and so on. We can fill out these fields in the same way, but in order to fill out this table, we should use following technique. For example, we can tell here that one box contains, let's say, 20 items, or we can even add the other units, for example, package, which contains, let's say, 3 items. And when we click save here, this information will be added. Now let's look at how we can add this item by using business object. So let's move to the macros, and here in the business object list, let's choose item business object, and let's start with add new command. Then let's set specific code for this item. We can set a name as well, like this, for example. And in order to work with tables which allowed us to add related units, we should use get data table item units macro as well. Let's run by F8 key, and now we can see table 1 here. This is exactly the same table which allowed us to put related unit measures for this specific item. Now we should fill out this table in order to connect the measures to the register unit. So we should move to the memory object, where we have tools which allow us to work with tables. And now we should add new record to this table. So let's double click on add new record. And now it will run by F8 key. And look at this table 1 here. We'll see one record added to this table. And now we should put value in these fields, related unit and its measure. For that, let's double click on set field value macro. So here in the table 1 and the first record and the field related unit, let's put the value, for example, box, and then we should put the value and the second field measure. Let's be 10 items in this box. Now let's add the second record. So let's double click on add new record again. And we should put values in the second record as well. So here in the second record and the field related unit, let's indicate package and let's be 3 items in this package. Let's run by F8 key. And we can see 2 records in this table. These are box and package with corresponding measures. And notice that when related units are indicated, the system will automatically search for a unique identifier in the database, and we can see these values here. And in order to add this item to the items list, we should finish with update command. Let's run. Go to the items list, refresh this screen, and as we can see here, the new item with its related units has been added to this list. And there is one more detail we need to know about the business object macro. As we've already seen in our example, the unique identifiers have been automatically determined by the system according to the related units. Now let's make sure it's done correctly by the system. So let's go to the related tables and let's look at units list. We have both of those units here, the box and the package. Now let's make their unique identifiers visible. And as we can see here, this number for the box is 2 and for the package is 10. But sometimes in some tables it's impossible to determine the unique identifier from the name of information, so we need to act in reverse order. First, we should find out the number of unique identifier and specify this number in the macro. Let me give an example. So let's go back to the macros. Let's remove the macros where the names are specified. And also let's delete this update macro to avoid unnecessary information in the database. And let's put the values of unique identifier in this table. So we should use setFieldValue macro. And here in the first record in this field related or stock units ID, let's put, for example, 10. And in the second record, in the same field, let's put 2. So we put ID numbers in reverse order. In the first record, we put 10, which is the ID number of the package. And in the second record, we put 2, which is the ID number of the box. Let's run by F8 key. And look at this table. And as we can see here, in the first record, we have the package corresponding to the ID number 10 and box in the second record corresponding to the ID number 2. So we can put values in this ID field and the system will extract their names automatically. Now let's consider one more example of using business object tables. So here in the menu Accounting and Entries, we can create transaction, and at the current date we can put, for example, in the bank account 1210 50 Lari from the account 3190. Now let's look at how we can record this transaction using business object macro. So let's cancel this transaction. Go to the macro screen, and here in the business object list, let's choose transaction business object. And let's start with add new macro. Then let's set a transaction date. We can set a date from the functions. Here in the datetime function, we have now, let's assign this variable 2 to the transaction date. And in order to record entries, we should use here the transaction business object get data table entries macro. So we should fill out this table. Let's run by F8 key. And look at this table. And as we can see here, the first record is already added to this table as it was in case of this system. Now we should enter account number in this field account. So here in the memory object tables, we should use setFieldValue macro. And in the first table and the first record and field account, let's set account number 1210, and also we should set a value to this field debit amount 50 lari, and now we should add the second record to this table, and on the second record we should set a value to the field account, and the second record, the field account, let's set 3190. Let's run by FAQ. And look at this table, and we can see account numbers here in this field, and also account names extracted by the system automatically. And notice that the macro, like the system, balances this transaction. So when we put the debit amount 50 lari and the first record, the macro and the second record will automatically put this amount in the field credit amount. So, as we can see, the macro works exactly the same way as the system interface. Now, let's finish with update command and run. And if we move to the system and refresh the screen, we'll see here this transaction which was created by using business object macro.